Hi, hello, friends. Welcome back to Nightcore Narrative. My name is Elvish. I hope you are doing very well. Today, I am discussing Starside. We, this is going to be a rough video. I do think this is going to be a rough video. I kind of don't have a lot to say about it, but I have way too much to say about it. If you guys know, I am a massive Alex Aster fan, and I do really like most of her work. By most of her work, I mean like literally the only one that has ever been under, like, if we're talking about just Lightlark, the only one that has been under a 5-star was Nightbane, which got a 4.5. So I really do like her work. She is definitely one of my auto buy authors where it doesn't matter what the book is, I'm going to pre-order it. Even Summer in the City got a 5-star for me, so I really do like her stuff. um Starside, unfortunately, was not it for me. It definitely makes reading the rest of the series a little bit more difficult. I don't know if I will be picking up the rest of the series. I I struggled very, very hard with this. I did end up giving it a 3-star, and I don't know if I gave it a 3-star because of it getting a little bit better towards the end, or if I gave it a 3-star because Alex and I really like her books. But I'm just gonna I don't know. I don't know. Um But to be completely honest, I kind of walked away from this book feeling confused more than anything. Disappointed is definitely a big one as well. This book did not give any of what she said it was going to give. From the very beginning, it felt like the book needed another round of editing. Definitely, lacked in some areas. There are a ton of run on sentences, super odd punctuations. Like, she uses ellipses throughout the entire book as if we're texting one another. And I understand, like, I'm a strong ellipses user, but it felt very inappropriate at times using them in the book when instead of those, it should have just been a period or a comma or semicolon or something. Um, it just felt very. I don't. I don't know the word I'm trying to say. It just felt very inappropriate. Like, it shouldn't have been there. Um, and even noticeable mistakes. So, for example, I believe page 135 in this book, she called the quest trials the Centennial, which the Centennial is the trials in the Lightlark series, but in this series, it's called the quest trials. So she did um, mistakenly call this the Centennial, which I feel like if edited properly, someone should have definitely caught that. But also seeing how this book is fairly similar to her Lightlark series, I can definitely see how it was missed. I just think that the whole editing thing on this book, it was very, very lackluster. I do think that this one possibly had the least amount of editing. And just, I could be talking out of my ass, but in my personal opinion, I do feel like this book had the least amount of editing across all of her books, and it kind of shows with that. So I'm hoping the next one, I think it's called Stormside. I do hope it does get a little bit better. I am so down to reread this one once the new one comes out. And give it another go, because I even did that with Fourth Wing. I really hated Iron Flame with a burning passion. Reread it, kind of hated it again the second time, but liked it a little bit more. That's not really saying much, but yeah. And I do think the messiness with the editing did carry on to the actual story itself. The biggest issue for me is that this book never really found its own identity. It did take a lot of inspiration from a ton of other books. It pulls a lot of heavy, I want to say inspiration, because I don't want to sit here and say that she plagiarized anything, and I don't want to say that she full on copied anyone. So I'm going to say that it pulls heavy inspiration from a lot of popular fantasy books. We do get a lot of A Court of Thorns and Roses. We get a lot from Fourth Wing. We get even some Quicksilver moments. We get some Harry Potter moments. There's even one. It's I was reading a lot of reviews because I just felt like I needed to validate my feelings on this book. So I did read a lot of reviews. Another book that this fully took inspiration from is Night Something Serpents. I haven't read it yet, but it's like something Night Serpents, something like that. I'm not going to claim that because I have not read it. But if you guys have read that book and know what book I am talking about, then you can obviously make your own idea and form your own opinion on that. But for me, I can't. I'm just letting you know that that is also another book. Inspiration, though, normally is a completely normal thing. I understand that there is going to be no real unique and original idea anymore this far in life and in the world. Everything does stem from another thing and does take inspiration. So definitely taking inspiration is one thing, and it's definitely appreciated, approved, appropriate, whatever you want to call it. But it gets to the point where, like, for example, if you're looking at Powerless versus the Red Queen versus Hunger Games, which I am currently reading Powerless right now, and I don't find it I've never read the Red Queen series, but even Powerless, I cannot tell the difference between Powerless and the Hunger Games. I'm going to be so for real with you. I can't tell a single difference between it. So it's just like there's a difference between taking inspiration and plagiarizing. And I'm not saying that Alex did that whatsoever. I'm not saying that at all. I love Alex, but you know, even scenes, so like A Court of Thorns and Roses, the saying, I gave him a vulgar gesture happens quite a bit, which obviously that is Sarah J. Maas's staple in all of her books, to the point where it's quite annoying hearing it. We even get a inspiration of like House of Wind. She does end up going to a magical house, which does give very strong House of Wind vibes. Now, no, is every magical house going to be similar to House of Winds? No. But it's just the way that it was written did give strong House of Wind vibes. Even at one point, she does go to, I think it's like a river, and there are like skeletons underneath or some shit, or like bodies underneath or something. To me, it felt like an exact replica of the bog scene with Cassian and Nesta, where she does go underneath, the skeletons attack her, and she finds the props that she is looking for. It was very, very similar. Even going into Fourth Wing, one of the spy scenes from the Fourth Wing, it's the what is it? It's the what is that thing called? Corset. It's like the corset scene from Fourth Wing is the same thing that's in this one, but obviously instead of Violet and Xaden, it's our main characters here. Yeah, and obviously, like, I'm having such a hard time with this book because I don't like talking, like, despite me being a shit talker, I don't like talking ill on authors, especially my auto-buy authors, because I do really, really wholeheartedly love everything that Alex puts out. But, it has to be said, and I have seen a lot of reviews, and I don't mean this in a negative way whatsoever, because I will say that I am the same. I do find that a lot of people, when it comes to auto-buy authors, they ride auto-buy authors' dicks so hard, and I am that way. I am that, like Alex, for example. If she pre-orders something, or if she comes out with a book, I'm pre-ordering it as soon as she says, hey, I'm Alex, I'm gonna convince you. Nope, I'm already convinced. Ma'am, put it down. Already convinced. It's already pre-ordered. I already got it. You're good. Same with, other authors. And I do think a lot of people failed to call out this side of this book, and I definitely want to, with especially cancel culture and just book talk and booktube as a whole, always wanting and spewing nonsense about taking accountability. I do definitely think that we should take accountability here. This book takes a little bit too much inspiration from others, and it is borderline, unfortunately, plagiarism at this point. So I don't want to be mean, but unfortunately that is my feeling on it. I don't know, but just, I guess, finishing up that thought, this didn't feel like inspiration with a twist. This didn't feel like inspiration, but make it new. It felt like a collection of already familiar ideas placed side by side. There are multiple moments where I wasn't getting pulled deeper into the story. I was getting pulled out of it because I recognized what the story was actually reminding me of, whether it was specific phrasing, certain creatures, or entire scene setups. It started to feel less like its own world and more of a blend of others already created. And because of that, it did end up feeling a little bit flat, in my opinion. Even the tone felt confusing at times. It was marketed as adult, but there was nothing adult about this book. This book was firmly young adult. Halfway through, I want to say maybe 30% through, something weird happened in her writing. It went from YA to, I guess, maybe new adult, but she kind of switched it, and I kid you not, every other sentence had the word fuck in it. I fucking hate you. Can you hurry the fuck up? Oh my god, fuck this, And it became a little bit too much, where literally, and I cannot exaggerate this enough, like literally every single, or like emphasize it enough, because I can literally pull my book out and like literally read you 2 to 3 different sentences, and the amount of fucks given in those 2 to 3 sentences became way too overwhelming and overbearing. So it just felt exhausting. Honestly, it felt very, very, very exhausting. I don't think that you should have compensated with the amount of language put in the book. Obviously, if this is marketed as an adult and you feel like you're not quite there yet, I do think, of course, another round of editing and or rewriting certain scenes could have done a little bit better than just using an overextensive amount of vulgarity. But of course, that is just me as well. I do think too, the spice was not really spicing. I did read her Summer in the City book, and I did find that the romance in that book was a little bit, it was good. I liked that book a lot, actually. I really loved that book, and I do think that was her first adult romance, I think. That book was done so well. So I know that she has the capability, and I know that she has the means to make an actually decent adult book, but I do feel like everything in this book was very... Do you know that meme of Miranda Cosgrove? She says, I do cuss a little. What's your favorite word? Fuck. Like, that's exactly the same vibe that this book gave off. And it was a little bit cringe, unfortunately. It was just cringe. It was overbearing. It was just a little bit too much. Yeah, it was just too much. And I think that's what really made the book feel inconsistent at times. Like, I just didn't like the tone that was set up throughout the book, and I don't really think that it ever actually changed. And then continuing on, we have our now female main character, Aris. If you've read any fantasy book, goddamn, every female main character in any popular romantasy, fantasy, whatever, they all have the same fucking name. Aris, Daenerys. Like, it's always the same fucking name. But it's okay. She was probably the most difficult part of this book for me to connect with, because she felt so inconsistent from chapter to chapter. Chapter 1, we start off, she is barely surviving, overwhelmed, struggling to even understand the world around her, barely able to pick up a weapon. She's so frail, so brittle, so whatever. The next chapter happens, and she is a well-trained warrior, able to literally take on 9 men, an entire small army, if you will, and one taps all of them, kills them completely. The next chapter, she comes out, and she's barely able to survive yet again. She has no means to... She can't even run properly. She can't even do that because she's not trained, and She doesn't know how to wield a sword, and she doesn't know how to do anything to make her survivability actually go up. But then the next chapter, she's slaying a fucking dragon. Okay, that one was an exaggeration, but I kid you not, every other chapter, so like every odd number, she's too frail and too undertrained, and she doesn't know anything of how to do whatever. And then like every even number of chapters, she's like, yes, I'm a warrior, I have done that. Like it was so fucking inconsistent, and and the amount of baddies in this book was just, it gave instant fucking whiplash. Every other chapter, obviously, as I just mentioned, she's able to be this well-trained warrior of 700 years, and she just fucking snaps her fingers and everyone obliterates. Like, come on. She could barely just like pick up her own mug, much less pick up a sword that is like Thor's hammer. But there were way too many obstacles being thrown at them to make this book even enjoyable in the slightest. And I understand that, you know, on this journey, you're going to find obstacles and you're going to come across things that want to definitely stop the journey in its place. But when it's every other chapter, and mind you, this book has 40 plus chapters, so overall we had probably easily I feel better, excuse me. We had easily like 15 to maybe 18 obstacles thrown into this book, and it just became way too overbearing, and it just got to the point where I wasn't even shocked when a new obstacle came out, or I wasn't even looking forward to a new obstacle. It was just like, oh, alright, well, here's another one, I guess. Alright, that's oh. Alright, so these guys are here. Oh, okay. You know, it was very bland. It was very dull. It was very flat. I didn't enjoy any part of it. I will also say, though, that about 50 to maybe 55% through this book, things did actually pick up a little bit. The story did improve a little bit. The pacing did improve. It was a little bit more engaging. But it did not change the overall vibe for the book. I think at that point, we already had our set in stone moments. As I just mentioned, every chapter she was set in stone to be this dainty little girl, and then the next chapter she was set in stone to be this amazing warrior fighting the new obstacle. Like, it didn't change the vibe of the book. It just became a little bit overbearing. But I will say the pacing and the overall enjoyment of the book did actually improve halfway through. The halfway mark to the end was actually really good. So I do think the next book might have a lot more promise, seeing how the ending of this book was a little bit better. I kind of hope she takes that momentum and puts it into the new book. I would be very, very excited to actually read the next book if that was the case. But I do think that even certain elements fell underdeveloped, including the dragon. Now, this dragon is really, really weird to me. Obviously, having dragons in stories is a major and exciting concept. But this one was barely present throughout the entire book. She appears at the beginning, and of course, Aris does tell her to leave. We don't really see her at all through the rest of the book, but then she just magically appears when the time is right at the very end. Okay. Yawn. Next. I do think that having a dragon, and even though, yes, this is a series, this is only book 1, when this is described as an adult fantasy with dragons, I expect to see a little bit more dragons. Does that make sense? I definitely expect to see a little bit more of what was advertised rather than whatever we got, where I just feel like every bit of advertisement wasn't actually in this book whatsoever. And of course, that's just a personal opinion of mine, but I do wish we could see a little bit more dragons. I also feel like the inconsistency with the animals are a little bit too weird, because there was even a point in time, I think it was a dragon, she comes across this rogue-like dragon creature. He was way too bloodthirsty, basically, teeth baring, growling, whatever. Like, obviously you don't get near it or it will rip your head off. She did the stereotypical arm outreached, eyes closed, how to train your dragon moment, and you're telling me this bloodthirsty dragon decides, oh, I guess she's cool, and then decides to just completely trust her out of nowhere, and then just like decides that, oh, well, okay, my next meal is no longer my next meal, because my next meal is friend, not food. And I found that so cliche, and it was just unrealistic. Like, with how the character, or I guess the creature, was set up, as soon as Aris put her hand out, that creature was going to take that arm away from her. That is how the character was set up. So this whole stereotypical Disney type thing of, oh my god, the dragon now loves her. Stop. Please stop. It was so cringe. I don't know. I just think for something that should feel significant, as like I mentioned, like the dragons and the creatures and all that, it just ended up feeling more like inconvenience rather than actual relationships and storylines. I don't think that having these creatures and having these dragons in this book actually did anything to fuel the plot line, the relationships, or even fuel any development whatsoever. I just feel like they were kind of there. They were just placed there to be there, and I don't really think that it actually gave any significance to the story. So, to me, it fell flat. Sorry. By the time we do reach the ending, though, everything wraps up so quickly. I didn't feel any emotional payoff by it. I think the ending of the book, for me personally, was underdeveloped quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember this guy's name. I don't. Haydock, maybe? Haydock, is that a guy from the, is that a character from this book? I don't know. I'm at that point where I checked out. So I think his name is Haydock. I don't fucking know what his name is. I won't lie to you. At one point, I guess if this is the same guy I'm thinking of, it is the same guy. I just can't think of his name. But he does get his dragon. He ends up flying all the way to the very end, when they finally get to the magic at the end. He decides to literally set up camp, wait the entire fucking book. Mind you, this is like chapter 4 at this point, maybe chapter 5. He waits the entire fucking book for Aris to finally get to the end, for him to be like, you made it, mwahaha, I now kill you. We've set up this plan and you have met your maker. Like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, yeah? You gotta be fucking kidding me. Okay, so I understand it's a book, I understand, but you mean to tell me the guy that is most thirsty for this magic gets a dragon, flies all the way to the end, has the magic literally in his palms, he can literally just yeet that shit, take it back, and he is the survivor, winner, whatever you want. Because let's be real, the quest trials is literally just the Centennial. He could be the one, and he decides to set up camp, wait for her to arrive, get his shit beaten. Like, I can't make this shit up. Like, it was just There was no rhyme or reason for that. It was just, we need a bad guy. We're making him it was giving Jack from Fourth Wing. I'm sorry. I know that's probably a stretch, but in my mind, it's giving Jack from Fourth Wing. And yeah, no, it was insane. But yeah, at the end of the day, I did go into this book expecting a fresh and immersive read rather than familiarity and lackluster events. I do still really love Alex. I don't think you'll ever watch my videos. If you do watch my videos, I'm sorry, this one probably was your first. Definitely go watch my other ones. I really, really do love you, Alex. You are still one of my all-time favorite authors. I'm so sorry. I don't think this one was it. And I would much rather be honest and everything, because I would much rather be honest and genuine than just do it because, or I guess lie because of popularity, I guess. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I do think that this book could have been a lot better. This book could have taken at least 10 different directions, and any direction that it did take could have been better than the one we ended up receiving. But again, that's just a personal opinion. But that's really all I'm gonna say on this. I did give it a 3-star. I do think the ending did get a lot better. It was definitely going to get maybe a 1 or 2-star for me, but the ending did make it a 3-star, so it was definitely worth it. I think maybe I need to reread it and go back in with an open and fresh mind. Maybe that will definitely, maybe it'll get better seeing that I already know it's not going to be something new and fresh. I think maybe that'll change the feel of the book, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Do I recommend this book? To be honest with you, no. I'm sorry. This is the first book of hers I do not recommend. I do think Saving Your Time will be a little bit better. There are so many other things that you could be reading rather than straight inspiration. I did see another review. The reviewer did say that she had read a Wattpad fanfic better than this book, and I do think that's a little cruel, but at the same time, it's actually very valid. So do with that mean information what you will. But as always, if you read it, if you disagree with everything I said, let me know why in the comments. If you agree with everything I said, let me know in the comments. Let's have a discussion about it. But until next time, I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully it's better. Bye!